Here are 7 tips for getting a better night's sleep. Tip number 1, try to turn off all screens at least 1 hour before bedtime. The blue light that's emitted from our screens, our phone, our computer, our TV, this blue light response keeps your nervous system active and prevents you from getting into a relaxed state that you need to fall asleep. I know most of us like to watch Netflix or scroll through our phone before we sleep, but try to do your best to put it away at least an hour before it's time to get in bed. Some other options are to turn on some music, to read a book, or do some light stretching, and this way you can get away from the screens and get into a more relaxed state when it's time to go to sleep. Tip number 2. Try not to eat at least 2 hours before you go to bed. If your body is trying to digest food when you get into bed, then it's going to be a lot harder for it to relax and fall asleep. I know it's hard to stay away from those late night snacks, but if you find yourself hungry after dinner all the time, then maybe you can try adding in healthy snacks earlier in the day to prevent you from getting hungry later and keep you from eating right before you go to bed. So try your best to resist those late night snacks because they could be keeping you up at night. Tip number 3, view sunlight as early as you can in the morning. Getting outside for as little as 10 minutes in the morning can help to normalize your sleep and wake cycle. First and foremost, we are animals. So the sun tells us when it's time to get up and when it's time to go to sleep. Because we spend so much time indoors, we don't get as much sunlight as our ancestors, and this affects our normal sleeping rhythms. Viewing the direct sunlight in the mornings can help to combat the problem of us being inside all day. If you can't get the direct sun in the morning because it's dark when you wake up, or maybe you just can't get outside, then try turning on all the lights in the room. This is a way to artificially create the sunrise effect. It's not quite as effective as viewing direct sunlight, but it's better than sitting in a dimly lit room in the mornings. So tomorrow when you get up, try getting as much sun or light in your eyes as soon as possible. Tip number 4. Try normalizing your sleeping schedule. This is one of the easiest ways that you can take back control of your sleep and wake cycle. Try going to sleep and waking up around the same time every day. Our bodies and brains are extremely smart and they pick up on our habits. If you go to sleep and wake up at random times throughout the day, then your body is going to get tired and be alert at random times. But if we try to fall asleep around the same time and wake up around the same time, then our bodies will get used to this normal sleep and wake rhythm. Tip number 5. Get blackout shades. This one is awesome. The first night Amy and I went to sleep with blackout shades, I went to sleep and I woke up like, whoa, I slept like a rock last night. And I continued to get more restful sleep afterwards. Making sure there is no light in the room when you're trying to fall asleep is super important. Again, light tells us when it's daytime and keeps our bodies alert. Light pollution from streetlights and neighboring houses or apartments can contribute to us having a harder time falling asleep and staying asleep. This one definitely works, so give it a try. Tip number 6. Cool down the room before you go to sleep. Our bodies naturally like a cooler environment when it's time to fall asleep. The medical community suggests having your sleeping environment around 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Try opening up the window or turning on a fan about an hour before you go to sleep. You can also sleep with lighter clothes on and lighter covers to give you a cooler environment. Again, this will trigger your body to tell it it's time to relax and get some rest. Tip number 7. Write down all the things you worry about before you go to bed. This one is super interesting. We've all been there. You're lying awake in bed thinking about all the things that you got to get done the next day, and this prevents you from falling asleep. So writing these thoughts down before you get into bed can be super helpful. By getting these thoughts out of your head and onto paper, we give our brains a chance to relax. So try writing down all those things that you're stressing about before you go to bed and see if you don't have an easier time falling and staying asleep. So there are 7 tips for ways to get a better night of sleep. I would suggest starting by picking 1 or 2 of these habits and trying to do them for a few weeks. In my opinion, getting the blackout shades and going to sleep at the same time every night are the 2 easiest places to start. Once you feel like you've got a hang of a few of these habits, then you can try adding 1 or 2 more at a time. Make sure you save this video so you can come back for more tips on how to get a restful night of sleep.